YouTube, how the duck you doing? Duck Phones here. What I got for you today is an XDefiant video talking about the best classes to use in XDefiant Ranked. And if you're new here and haven't already, please do me a huge favor, hit that like and subscribe button as it greatly helps me out. But anyways, let's dive straight into the builds. Kicking things off, we're going to have two different MP7 builds. First, the one I personally use and enjoy the most. We're going to be starting off with the muzzle booster. Now the muzzle booster is going to give 2.5% rate of fire and minus 10 horizontal recoil and vertical. Now controlling the recoil with the MP7 isn't too difficult, so you can get away with using a muzzle booster, but if you want more damage you could use the barrel extender. Now again, this is the first build, so we're going to be using the rapid fire barrel, which is going to be 5% rate of fire with minus 20% horizontal and vertical recoil control. Then for the front rail, we're going to be using the leather wrapped front grip. It gives 15% ADS walking speed and 10% ADS stability. You lose some ADS speed in sprint to shoot time, but that doesn't really matter with this MP7. Then we're going to be using no optics, as the MP7 doesn't really need any optics and does really well with iron sights even for mouse and keyboard. Then for this build, I run the quick magazine. You get 5 mags plus 15% reload speed. It doesn't give you too many negatives compared to the other magazines, so I highly recommend using quick mag on any build you use. Now for this first MP7 build, we're going to be using the quick draw grip. It gives 10% sprint to shoot time, 10% ADS speed, and minus 15% ADS stability. The detail stats are as followed, and it doesn't really matter. This is a solid gun, especially close to medium range. Moving on to the second MP7 build, we're going to be running the barrel extender. Now again, this gives 10% short range and 10% medium range. However, you do get minus 10% recoil recovery and minus 10% sprint to shoot time, which again, it's the MP7, so it doesn't really matter that much. Following that, since the MP7 already does a lot of damage, we're going to be skipping out on the barrel attachment. Then we're going to be running the super light grip. We get 10% ADS speed, plus 2.5 movement speed, and minus 10% recoil recovery. Next, we're going to be running the quick magazine. Again, like I said in the first build, it's the best magazine to run pretty much for any gun, as there's not too many downsides, only positives. Then we're going to be running the quick draw grip. This is going to give us, again, 10% sprint to shoot time, 10% ADS speed, and minus 15% ADS stability. Now lastly, we're going to be running the lightweight grip, or the lightweight stock. It's going to give us 10% ADS walking speed, plus 2.5% movement speed, minus 20% ADS stability, and minus 10% ADS speed. Now this build is primarily focused on movement and speed, as opposed to the first build where it's more like damage in close range. If you have different MP7 builds, let me know down below in the comments. Next, we're going to be moving on to the ACR. Now I feel like a lot of people have made videos on the ACR, myself included, but this is the build that I've been using and really love. We're going to be running no muzzle, as most of these gives too many negatives, especially for the ACR. We're going to be running the rapid fire barrel, as it's a very slow rate of fire gun, so we're going to be using the rapid fire to counteract that. Then we're going to be using the small vert. I like the small vert as opposed to the leather wrap, as this is going to give us walking speed and ADS speed, while the leather wrap only gives us walking speed, but it also gives us stability, which you don't really need. We're going to be running no optics, as at least for this skin, the skin is very good and the optics are very clean, so it's really easy to see your targets. Then we're going to be running the quick mag. Again, it's the best magazine in my eyes. No negatives, only positives. Then we're going to be running the fabric grip for the ADS speed and stability. Now you could swap it out with the quick draw grip if you don't want the stability upside. Then lastly, we're going to be running the lightweight stock. This is up to you. If you don't have a skin that gives you really clean iron sights, you could swap it out with the red dot. For our next build, we're going to be rocking the MP5. Now I don't use a muzzle on the MP5, but you can run a muzzle booster or barrel extender if you really wanted to. I'm going to be using the rapid fire barrel to really increase that rate of fire, as even though it shoots really fast already, we're going to crank it up even more so it can be on par with the Vector. Then we're going to be running the super light front rail for the movement speed and ADS speed, and if you wanted to, you could easily swap it out for the leather wrapped if you like staying in your iron sights or your red dot for however long you want. Then I use the reflex. I don't have any skins for this weapon, so I'm going to be using the reflex, as you can't see anything with the iron sights in the default setting. Then of course, just like all the other weapon builds I ever do, we're going to be using the quick mag again. There's only positives and no negatives. Then I use the quick draw grip for sprint to shoot time and ADS speed. You could easily swap it out with the fabric grip if you really want to, and you really wanted that ADS stability. Then I prefer running no stock, but if you had a skin, say the one from the beta, you could take off the reflex and definitely put either removed or folded, or even lightweight if you really wanted to. For the next build, we're going to be running the M16A4. Now I use no muzzle for the M16 and I actually use the recon barrel, but you could definitely swap out the recon with the rapid fire if you really wanted to. Following that, I use the leathered wrapped grip, which is very decent, but you could use, say, vertical or even the pistol grip if you really want to. Then I run the reflex sight, as again, I don't really like the iron sights. We're going to be running no magazine for this weapon, as I like to use the quick draw grip, which is sprint to shoot time and ADS speed, but you could definitely use something like grip tape, fabric, or even leather wrapped. Then, lastly, I use the padded stock for recoil recovery and stability, but you could trade out the padded stock, say for the lightweight or even removed if you really wanted to. When it comes to the M16, it all depends on your specific type of playstyle. Then when it comes to the AK-47 build, this is what I've been using and really love. We're going to be running no muzzle, as I believe it already has a super great rate of fire, but if you want to have a muzzle, I would run the muzzle booster. Following that, I use the lightweight barrel to give you that movement speed and ADS speed. Then I use the leathered wrapped foregrip, as it gives ADS walking speed and ADS stability, which I think is very needed, especially when it comes to the AK. If you don't want to use leather wrapped, I recommend maybe using the pistol grip. Following that, I use the reflex sight, as the iron sights for the AK, at least in my eyes, are a little weird at some points. Then following that, we're going to be running the fast mag. Now you could either run the fast mag or the quick mag. For this specific build, I've been running the fast mag, and it's been doing pretty well. Then I use no rear grip, so I can use the remove stock, so I get more sprint to shoot time and more movement speed. The AK, at least with mouse and keyboard, is very easy to control. I highly encourage you to test out the remove stock, but if you don't want to use the remove stock, just use a default stock. Following that, another excellent weapon for ranked is going to be the Mark 20. Now, I kind of keep it similar to the default marksman class. We'll be running the light suppressor, but you could run muzzle booster if you really wanted to. Following that, we're going to be running the rapid fire barrel. Again, we want the rate of fire, especially for a slow rate of fire weapon like the Mark 20. We'll be running no front rail, as there's not too much recoil, you just have to make sure you time your shots correctly. Be running the reflex sight, as the iron sights are pretty non-existent and are awful to look through. Then I run the extended mag to get 10 more mag size. Now you could use quick mag, but you get less ammo, and I tend to run out ammo pretty quickly. Then we're going to be using the quick draw grip, again the sprint to shoot time and ADS speed. However, when it comes to the Mark 20, if you don't want to use the quick draw grip, I highly encourage you to use grip tape, as it's also very excellent to use. Then last but not least is going to be the sniper builds. We're going to be running the muzzle booster for the TAC 50 to get that rate of fire. We're going to be using the lightweight barrel to get that ADS speed and movement speed. Then we're going to be using the default optic, as the other optics are not the best. We're going to be running the extended mag, because that's what I like to use. But if you don't want to use this extended mag, I highly encourage you to use quick mag, as the other mags are not very good. Then we're going to be running the quick draw grip, so we get that ADS speed and sprint to shoot time, as they've recently nerfed the sprint to shoot time with the snipers. No stock. Following the TAC 50, we're going to be building the L115 pretty much the exact same way, with muzzle booster to give us that rate of fire, lightweight barrel to give us that nice ADS speed and movement speed. We're going to be running the default optics, as the other optics are pretty terrible. Extended mag for that magazine size, again you could use quick mag if you really wanted to. Then the quick draw rear grip, again sprint to shoot time and ADS speed. If you don't have quick draw unlocked, I would use fabric. and of course, no stock. But there you have it. Those are my builds for XDefiant Ranked. And if you're new here and haven't already, do me a huge favor, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you have builds that you also like, or you think I missed out on, go ahead and leave it down below in the comments. But anyways, I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.